I'm gonna tell you how many Model 3s Tesla is making pretty much this week, and it's coming pretty much directly from Tesla. I didn't really expect hearing these numbers until pretty much Elon Musk announced it and Tesla announces it at their Q1 reporting a day, I guess, if you call it. So we're gonna talk about that. More news coming out about Hyundai Kona, premiered at the New York Auto Show. Rimac Concept 2, some news about how their sales are going. Almost sold out. Can you believe that? Also, some news from China, some news from Germany about Tesla. Very interesting. And of course, the comment of the day. So a lot to talk about. So let's get it all going right now.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, evil.
All right, and of course we froze during the freaking intro. It's gonna be a great day. All right, so before we talk about Model 3, if this is your first time here, I promise this video doesn't freeze as often, but become a part of this community by clicking that subscribe button. It's free. All right, so it looks like the Senior Vice President of Engineering at Tesla sent out an email to the employees, and they were talking about how they really need to ramp up the production and that they're making a little over 200 of Model 3s per day now, which is, you know, about what, 1,500 a week. That's far away from 2,500 units a week. They're obviously trying to ramp up. I was kind of hoping that whole Grumman engineering module that they were kind of bringing from Germany was really going to ramp up the production, kind of double it almost. I don't know if they're still assembling, if they're done, but we'll see what happens. It looks like they're going to really try for that one last day to really jam through as many Model 3 production units as possible. So it is sort of, doable. Of course, people won't really take it as seriously, because if that falls back to whatever they've been doing in the last couple of weeks, like starting next month, so we'll see. Tesla obviously has been having a really bad week. The stock is up today by a couple of percent, so it kind of stopped falling. A monkey right in the chat room says, so who got more stock today, LOL. Some people are buying, apparently some people are buying. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely concerning with, I forgot to mention yesterday that another problem with Tesla is that there are a bunch of payments that are due, over $1 billion, I believe, due in them to pay back to some of the people who've lended them the money. And if they're not going to ramp up the production fast enough, they might have to default or borrow more money. So that's some of the concerns that are actually being raised now with all of these things that are going on with Tesla. So definitely, I prefer they produce cars without doors falling off, says Justin in the chat room. Well, they've been actually, the quality of the cars have been pretty decent. I haven't heard too many problems, so that's actually been a pretty good news that no one's really talking about. FB Fitness says, I purchased more Tesla shares at $256. Land, not landed. You're right, land. Cool, always correcting my grammar, but I appreciate that. Land. All right, so let's move on to some other news. Before that, of course, let me remind you that this channel and this video is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. If you're shopping there just like I do pretty regularly, you can grab a discount code in the description of this video. They've generated specifically for our community. All right, SF Motors. That car company has been kind of under the radar in a stealth mode, and they finally unveiled their two SUVs. One is the SF5, another one is SF7. SF7, we don't know when they're going to be actually coming out with this, but let's talk about SF5, because they're going to start taking reservations at the end of the year, and they're looking to start production the year after, so 2019. And the story is interesting. Just for those of you who don't know, the former CEO of Tesla, the one before Elon Musk, and Elon Musk kind of butted heads with him, he ended up creating another company that was acquired by SF Motors, and he's now, I believe, Chief Innovation Officer or one of the executives. So that's an interesting, just kind of an inside story that's going on there. They've unveiled this here in Northern California rather than the New York Auto Show that's going on. So that's a little bit interesting, but nevertheless, whatever. Good looking car, I think. Good looking SUVs. They're saying that they're going to be able to have up to, I believe, 3 or 4 motors, and different versions will have 1, 2, 3, or 4 motors depending on what you want. The maximum performance would be over 300-mile range, and that's going to be EPA rated. 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. So here's a very interesting thing about this company. They've most companies, actually, if not all companies, have unveil a car first and then figure out how they're going to make it and where they're going to make it. Well, this company actually has not 1 but 2 factories already going on. One is in Indiana. That's the factory that used to make Hummers, and another one in China. So their production can start like ASAP because they have those already. So this is the company to watch. Let's see what happens. The CV looks great, good specs. They got the factory going on, and they've unveiled the car and taken reservations at the end of this year. Sounds good to me. All right, don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video. By the way, it does help the video once it gets reposted. A lot of you, actually 95% of you, watch this video once it gets reposted. Okay, at the New York Auto Show that I just mentioned, Hyundai Kona EV, that was officially available for our audience here in the United States. They are confirming 250-mile range, EPA rated. That's a little bit less than they were kind of promising. I think they were promising 275. Still great range. It's weird that it's a little bit more than Kia Niro EV, which their sister companies pretty much, and so that was a little bit odd. But hey, great range. Some people are expecting that this will be priced in 20s, $20,000 plus. I thought it was going to be priced in their 30s, and plus the incentives. So if you can pick this car up for like $20,000, I think I will, because the range is great. Established automaker with service centers and everything, I mean, it looks pretty good. Not a big fan of what it looks like inside, but still, I mean, this would be a great deal. A lot of you guys are been asking, hey, when will I be able to pick up a car that's electric with a decent range for under 20,000? This is it, and I'm telling you guys, this could be a big game changer ahead of everybody who's been trying to get to SUV market. And of course, Audi and Jaguar cannot compete with this price, and this range is better than theirs. So that's very, very, very interesting. Alex is asking, does anyone know if Tesla is running 2 or 3 shifts with Model 3 production? I would assume so. I would definitely assume so. By the way, let me thank really quick my Patreons. You guys have been great. If you're looking to support this show, the description of this video contains the link. You will also enjoy exclusive footage, pictures, behind the scene footage, and many other things that I put up there for my Patreons, kind of creating another awesome community there. So thank you for supporting me. Rimac. Concept 2, you guys remember this car was unveiled just a few months ago, actually last month. No, this month. Yeah. Oh, time flies. Yeah, this month this car was unveiled. A hypercar from a company that's already had a concept 1 and sold, I believe, 10 total for like under $1 million. Now they came up with this baby over here. It has an insane 0 to 60 acceleration, 1.8 seconds, just ahead of Tesla. But we'll see what Tesla does with their Roadster. And now it looks like they're almost sold out. The price tag is $2.1 million. I guess they just reported that the average amount of money that people spend on extra accessories is like $615,000. So we're talking about that average price almost under $3 million. They're only going to make 100 of these, and I think the production starts in 2020. But nevertheless, obviously they did not have a problem getting this car sold. So that is, Alan says, crazy. I don't know about which story, but this is one of them for sure. So good for Rimac for getting this thing almost sold out. Can't wait to see it maybe one day. We'll see. All right, by the way, a reminder that next Saturday, this coming Saturday, only in what, 2 days? I don't know where I'm at. Roger Atkins is going to be my guest. He's an electric car blogger on LinkedIn and a brand consultant. I expect a really, really interesting conversation with him. And then after that, I got Rich Rebuilds. A lot of you guys have been actually excited about it, so he confirmed. Then I'll be streaming from an event here in Central California, and then we'll all drive a bunch of Tesla owners. It will be pretty cool. I'll stream live a couple of times, also from one of the largest superchargers in the United States. So that should be fun. All right, couple more stories. China is now announcing a better recycling temporary rules. they're going to be requiring that the manufacturers take care of recycling. So anybody who wants to recycle the battery from their car can turn it in, and those companies, manufacturers, should be ready to either recycle or recondition them, or use them for some different purpose. And also, they should be able to provide services that will recondition this battery for the owners. It's kind of similar regulations already exist in other countries and here in the United States, in some states, including California, but I haven't really heard any kind of major, noise around it, and I don't know anybody who's done it. I don't know if there's like big industry that's going to be that's coming out of it, but definitely something that we should be considering about as environment conscious movement, what to do about batteries. So good for China to kind of at least putting something in place for now. And then more news from Germany. As you know, they originally took incentives away from Tesla because there was one of their magazines came out with an article saying that Tesla is gaming the system by sort of luring people in, taking out all the features of the car, so it means the under 60,000, I think, euro cap, and then when selling the car actually charges more. Well, turns out the investigation into that is over. Turns out the magazine was wrong, Tesla was right, and Tesla incentives are now reinstated. I wish they would have done the other way. Instead of believing some magazine article, we would have investigated first and then taken action. So, but Germany has been not very good to Tesla for obvious reasons. Oh, and by the way, they're also going to allow them, I guess, I'm not even sure if they're going to allow them, but I guess Tesla figured out a way how they can keep their regular plugs that they've already been using in Europe and be able to build more supercharger. And it turns out they're just going to put up the sign saying this is for Tesla owners only. I don't quite understand why that took like a year for them to figure out. I don't know if Germany's going to crack down on that, but it is an odd situation over there. But I'm glad Tesla won at least that part of this whole thing. Let's see. Let's move on to comment of the day. One of my most favorite part of the show, and this one comes from let's see, Rainy 2005. And of course, we're going to be talking about, the trouble that Tesla's been going through, and the article that was coming out predicting bankruptcy in the next few months. And so he says, how can a short seller make an article stating so and so on verge of bankruptcy and not be sued for defamation? So here's the thing. Well, I'm not really sure if they can sue because they're technically investors and they can suggest to that. But this brings up a bigger point for me. How come we don't have laws where these investor firms that obviously when they say something it can move a market, how come they don't take a responsibility? There's no responsibility for them check and double check. So if they're predicting something that's moved the stock and therefore damaging the company's chances of do well and so forth, and in case of Tesla, that can really damage them, how come they're not criminally responsible or in other way responsible, including, well, I'm not sure if defamation is the right cause here, but how come they can do it with absolutely no repercussions? I really hate that about I had a lot of things about our Wall Street system, but this is definitely something that anybody can say anything, move the market because they're so big and then gain from it, right? So I can't agree with you more. I mean, I usually don't get into this whole Wall Street BS stuff, but it's just been that kind of a week for Tesla and for other stocks like Nvidia. And so Tesla should sue the magazine, says Nigel, about the story about Germany. Absolutely. I really hope they do. Broman says, easy government does the same thing. So why would they make a law from something they benefit from? All right, fair enough. Varun says, how many days do you think Tesla needs to get back on track for stock and Model 3 production? Okay, I never talk about stock. That's a lottery. I absolutely do not want to make any predictions about anything that has to do with stock, just because that would be disservice to you guys. About Model 3 production, you know what? I don't even know. I really don't even know because we don't know what's going on there. We don't know what else is holding up. Why are they not meeting their own promises that they've made again? So it's hard to predict. It looks like they're ramping up. So if anything, I would say that by the end of Q2 2, they should be at 3 or 4,000 per week, unless this Grumman engineering line does something magical, which I hope it does. So that's, as you can see, it's impossible to predict, but don't expect any magic really. Expect them to miss their guideline, their own estimate for this for sure. Stock is never a lottery when you buy informed and for long holds, says Justin. I disagree. I mean, yes, it's no, I'm just gonna go ahead with the lottery because you just never know and nobody can ever predict it, and people made and lost a lot of money for no reason whatsoever. I can understand long-term investments generally, but as far as when people shorting stuff, which I also think should be legal, and gaining within half I really think it's a crapshoot. I don't want to have any part of it. Certainly don't want to advise anybody on that. All right, guys. So as you can see, so many news today. I woke up and I was like, well, come on, it's gonna be a slow news day. Hells no. All right. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., please join me for the last day of news that I do. After that, Saturday interview, on Sunday, we, of course, are going to just hang out for a couple of hours, drink some tea and honey, and that's what I'm planning on doing so I can keep my voice. All right, guys, see you tomorrow, and remember to stay charged.